Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. We've got a special guest coming up on the program today. We're going to be visiting with a guy by the name of David Daley, and he's got a book that I can't even say the title of it on the radio. I can say rat-f'd. That's what I can say. But it's a political book, and it's actually, I think it's pretty darn cool. I'm really looking forward to chatting with him. Health authorities in India's Kadiam district, I think I'm saying that right, reported about 50 people have gone blind after a rumor went around that if you stare at the sun long enough, you could see miracles and images of Virgin Mary in the sky.
Are you kidding?
They're trying to stop this by putting warning signs up to let people know that's not true.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's not smart. A man in Cleveland, in a suburb there, was charged with assault after throwing his pit bull at a police officer, then barricading himself inside of his home. So this guy, I don't know exactly what. Nobody was injured, including the pit bull. Everybody was fine. But who throws their dog at a police officer? All right, got some special things to talk about that are happening today. We'll get to that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, June the 27th. Today is Decide to Be Married Day. Isn't that every day if you're married? I mean, you should decide to be married
apparently.
every day. But
I mean,
today's
unless
the
this
day.
is somebody thinking about proposing.
That could be. Today is Happy Birthday to You Day. I believe this is the day that this song was officially copyrighted or something.
Okay.
Today is National Sunglasses Day.
Okay.
Industrial Workers of the World Day. National HIV Testing Day.
Oh.
PTSD Awareness Day.
Oh.
And Please Take My Children to Work Day. So I think you take your children to work, or you're asking someone else?
Someone else so you can have some free
Will
time.
you please take my children to work? I'm not exactly sure how all of that goes. But anyway, today is a day to get out there and celebrate. I'm going to celebrate by being married on Decide to Be Married Day. Can I be married to you today?
Sure.
All right. We are every day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond Lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. This is a very disturbing story. A mother tries to sell her child on eBay.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, they don't call it eBay there. A stressed-out mom in Holland has offered her one-year-old son for free through their auction website Marketplaats. It's a Dutch subsidiary of eBay. The website has removed the ad, which read, "He has no illness. I am disposing of him because I have so many things in my head. I am not very good with children."
Oh, my gosh.
Marketplaats said, "Advertisements with children for sale, luckily, do not happen very often." Although a mother had once offered her daughter, who was going through puberty, saying she could, quote, "do nothing with her," end quote. While a telephone number and an email address were included, the number could no longer be reached. Out of 152 people who actually looked at the ad, only one offered any money for this child. Guess how much they were willing to pay?
How much?
$5. Despite the very clear statement in the ad that the child was being offered free of charge. Police are now investigating and trying to track down the world's worst mom.
Wow.
So if you have a child that you don't want, what would make you think that selling the child on eBay would be the right choice?
Well, that's a bad decision.
I think that's
clearly
a terrible decision. First thing I would do is talk to my family members. You know, I got to say this. I love our kids, and I understand she probably loves this child, but she was saying, hey, I can't handle the kid. The wrong answer would be, hey, I'm going to just sell the child to a stranger for free. I mean, you don't sell them if it's free. That doesn't make any sense. But there are agencies out there, and I'm sure they have those in Holland as well, where if you're saying, hey, I don't know what to do. I can't handle this. I need some help. You know, I guarantee you there are other alternatives rather than this. It's really sad that this happened.
That's really sad.
And, again, she tried to sell her child on the Dutch version of eBay, which is just crazy. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is Your Brain on Drugs. An Ohio police officer's body camera video shows an intoxicated man stumbling along a road. He'd planned to get him home safely, but then the man said, well, hey, I'm looking for my marijuana that I lost. So the police officer said, well, then let me help you find it. They looked for it, they found it, and he got arrested instead of a ride home. So there you go. Yeah, that's, again, we talk about this every day, and I always want to make sure that we qualify. We're really trying not to make fun of people doing dumb things. Addiction's no joke, but the dumb things people do when they're under the influence, if you're under the influence of a substance and you need some help, seek help. If you need help finding help, reach out to us. We know places where you can get all kinds of help. But again, that is just sad that people are doing that. How many times have we talked about this kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Over and over. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Got a moment of duh for you on this Monday. How long will it be before I get my car back? Well, I guess it all depends. Guy's been waiting for a little while. Argentina retiree Jose Orano told a local newspaper he's been waiting to get his car repaired for quite some time now. He took his 1970 Fiat in for, quote, minor repairs and a paint job. A week later, the mechanic said, I need a couple more weeks. Then the mechanic stated, my aunt died. Then I was burglarized. Then another and another and another. 6 years later.
Yeah, we had one of those.
Jose is still waiting for his car to be fixed. He said, I wanted to be patient because I know the mechanic's wife and kids, but enough is enough. We had a vehicle that we took in to have painted.
Yep.
And finally bought another vehicle because the guy said, oh, hey, you need a parts car. So we bought another vehicle. And then we ended up taking both of them to the junkyard. We're like, yeah.
He didn't touch them. Didn't do
well,
a
no,
thing.
he sanded the one
ripped
down
one
and
apart
set
and
it out
destroyed
in the
it.
elements.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, boy. So bye-bye.
He's out of
Dad.
business. So
Yeah, I noticed that, which is really sad. You know what? I'm in all seriousness, I'm sad to see that.
But I mean, if you did that stuff to everybody,
I
there's
hope
no
you didn't.
wonder.
I really hope not. But anyway, this happened. This one here was in Argentina. So there you go. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Alcoholic Architecture. That's the name of a bar in London. They're trying to appeal to your sense of smell. And the bar recently offered a novel speed dating event called, oh, this sounds disgusting, Romancing the Armpit. Ugh.
Ew, are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. Participants placed a paper bag on their head. Then they smelled each other's
Oh,
armpits.
my gosh.
They rated each other by smell and were matched up accordingly. The premise is that people are naturally attracted to good partners by smell.
Oh,
I
my
sure hope everybody knew that
gosh.
before they went to the bar. Because
That is just disgusting.
if you knew that's what you were going for and you were, all showered and, smelling really good, I can only imagine if, somebody
If you-
talked you into
if you
going.
didn't know.
After a long day of work and you're, stinky and sweaty and like, just come out to the bar. It's going to
Yeah.
be fun. You're like, okay, I'll
That
go.
would be the pits.
That would be the pits. Hey, a recent survey says 1 in 10 Americans don't carry around cash anymore. I am one of those 1 in 10.
I hardly ever have cash.
And it's not because I don't believe in carrying around cash.
just
it's because
don't have any money.
I have no cash. It's not like a principal thing. It's a pornist thing. I'm just saying. All right. According to a study from Harvard Medical School in Boston, fresh blooms brighten more than a room. They also lift your mood. So they're saying, having some fresh flowers here and there, they'll make the room look pretty, but they'll also make you feel better. So there you go. Have you ever heard the joke, there's a Starbucks on every corner?
Yes.
Now, no, that's not true. That's just silly. But there is one within 20 miles of 80% of Americans. The furthest you'd ever have to drive to get coffee from a Starbucks if you live in the United States, 140 miles. That's the furthest any American has to drive to get coffee from a Starbucks-owned store, 140 miles. So they're not on every corner, but they're on a lot of corners. A survey by the UK version of Girl Scouts. They have things there. You know what theirs are called?
No.
Girl Guiding. Girl
Okay.
guiding. It's all one word. One. It's all one. I can't even say that. It's all one word.
Okay.
Girl guiding. Anyway, that's the UK version of Girl Scouts. They found that marriage is not the priority for most teens like it used to be. The majority of girls between the ages of 7 and 21 define success as being, quote, being confident and independent rather than being married. Just 3 years ago, the majority chose marriage as their number one achievement before the age of 30. Nowadays, they're saying, I'd like to be confident and independent. So
Yeah.
that's happening in the UK. So there you go. A Lincoln, Nebraska man jumped from a second-story balcony, breaking a leg in the process. He was arrested by a sheriff's deputy as he was trying to evade. Deputies say they went to a Lincoln apartment looking for a suspect in a recent burglary. But when they knocked, nobody answered the door. The deputies turned to leave. They heard a thud. They found a man with a broken leg on the ground below the apartment. Not only did the cop almost leave, so he didn't have to jump, but it also turned out that he wasn't even the burglary suspect they were seeking. So the policeman was leaving. If he would have just
Oh, wow.
stayed there, that's not even who they were going for. It was a different bad guy.
Ah,
So that guy was
It's a
kind
rough
of a
neighborhood.
apparently. And over here, Boston police officers spotted a car that was allegedly speeding and violating other traffic laws. Upon further investigation, they discovered the car had been reported stolen, and the chase was on. After a brief chase, 3 teenagers jumped from the vehicle, were quickly captured. Not necessarily an unusual story, except for the fact that the kids were somehow unable to outrun the police officers, even though the police officers that were given chase were on bicycles. The kids could not outrun the bicycle cops. So there you go.
Well-
That happened in Boston. Well,
Why does that surprise you? A
the kids were-
bicycle can go faster than a person can run.
they weren't running. They were in a car, a stolen car. So the kids were in a stolen car, and the cops were in a bicycle, and you were reading a text. So
No, I wasn't.
You
You
were
said
doing
they got
some-
out of the car and started running, and they couldn't outrun the bicycle cops. That's what you said.
Did I say that? All right. That's your scoop of the day on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now, David Daley. He's the author of a book that I can't say the name of it on the radio. We'll just say Rat-F'd. How's that sound? The true story behind the secret plan to steal America's democracy. And we've got him on the phone with us right now. Mr. Daley, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're excited to have you. Now, first of all, the name, do they have, because I see on here it's got some little stars. Is that what they have on the cover, or is it all spelled out on the cover?
They have got the 2 stars on the cover. Yes, indeed. This is a more lively and vibrant title than, say,
Yeah.
Gerrymandering Will Put You All to Sleep for 250 pages. So we're trying to make this as exciting and important a story as it actually is, because I think sometimes people think, oh, gerrymandering, this is the thing I learned about in civics class.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the reason our democracy has and our politics have become so extreme and dysfunctional.
Well, and the crazy thing is, it seems like about every couple of years, you've got one party or the other party that's, moving some lines and changing some districts, trying to make things a little better for themselves. And it's both parties do it. It's not one or the other. And it's almost like, they get away with it because, I don't know if it's because nobody cares or if people just don't know what's happening. Why is it that this happens?
Well, we are the only democracy that allows politicians to choose their own voters instead of the other way around. It goes back to 1790. It's been part of the system for 225 years now. What changed in 2010? And both parties certainly did do it for a long, long time. But it was always sort of a rascally kind of political revenge, or it was an incumbency protection plan, or it would be a way to shiv a political enemy. What the Republicans managed to do in 2010 was something that had never been done in the history of gerrymandering before, which is to have a really brilliant, concentrated plan to go out in the fall of 2010 and flip legislative chambers from coast to coast in Wisconsin, in Florida, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Texas, New York, with the express intent of going into the redistricting mapping part of this in 2011 and drawing amazing new lines that would lock in control of the House of Representatives for a decade.
Wow.
And they pulled it off with the help of amazing new technology. The mapping technology these days is so much better than it was even 10 years earlier. So, I mean, even in 2000, I mean, think of how we texted in 2000. You didn't even have a keyboard on your phone. You could
took forever.
a number, and it took forever to do a word.
Yeah.
And by 2010, you have a smartphone, and in terms of redistricting, the technology went from being a horse and buggy to a rocket ship in those 10 years, and we're living on those maps right now, and the results have been really amazing. I mean, the Republicans intended to build a firewall, and they did, because in 2012, which is the first election that is run on the new maps, 1.4 million more people nationwide vote for Democratic candidates than Republican candidates for the House of Representatives, and yet the Republicans hold on to the chamber with a 35-seat majority. First time since 1972 that the party with the most votes didn't take control of the House. It was only the second time in 100 years that this had happened. The firewall was incredibly strong, and it will stay in place until the next time lines are drawn in 2021.
David, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us about this today.
Completely my pleasure. Thank you.
And where can we find a copy of this book if people want to go out and get it?
It's in bookstores everywhere, and you can find it on Amazon or any of your booksellers of choice.
Very good. We're going to send them out. Thank you again, David. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
David Daley, again, author of Rat-F'd, the true story behind. I almost said it that one time, so I better be careful. It's a word I can't say on the radio, but Rat-F'd, the true story behind the secret plan to steal America's democracy. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
Do you buy lottery tickets? Maybe you wait till the jackpot is big, then you buy one. I was like that too. Like my odds got better because the jackpot was more. Well, I think I found something that actually will give me a better chance to win. It's called Lotto-licious. I learned about this from Richard Lustig. He literally wrote the book on how to win the lottery, and he should know. He's a 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Richard plays and endorses Lotto-licious, and I just signed up too. I'd love it if you join Richard and I. You can play Powerball and Mega Millions without even going to the store. Sign up right now at RadioLottopool.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Walnuts are the oldest, most widely cultivated, and extensively used nuts in the world.
Really?
Yeah, so chances are, if you're nuts about nuts, you like walnuts.
I do like walnuts.
I like walnuts, too. I thought you looked familiar. I saw you at the Walnut Festival. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
While in Alcatraz, Al Capone was inmate number 85.
Okay.
Just in case you wanted to know. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are 12 books in the Bible that start with the letter J. Can you name several of them?
John.
Okay. Any others?
Job.
Okay.
There's 7?
There's 12. Joshua, Judges,
Joshua.
Job, Jeremiah, Joel, Jonah, John, James, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John.
Wow.
Jude, and that gets us up to 12. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
An earthquake on December 16th, 1811, caused the Mississippi River to flow backwards for a while. How crazy is that?
Cool.
And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Astronauts get taller while they're in space.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they're standing on their tippy toes in space or something. It's because they don't have
There's no
gravity,
gravity
bringing them
pulling
down.
yeah.
All right, coming up, we've got some fun stuff
But
to
do
share.
they go back to normal when they come home?
Yeah, it's like a slinky. I don't know. They fall off the ship like that. Boop, 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 boop. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Worst dating mistakes ever. According to Third Age, whoever that is, they offer advice on the worst dating mistakes. Have you ever heard of Third Age?
No.
Never heard of them, so I don't know who
No.
this is. Should we be taking advice from people we don't even know? Let's give it a shot and see. These are bad dating mistakes. Being late. If you have a date for 8, be there at 8 or better yet, a couple of minutes before. Next, being too serious. Relax. Smile. Laugh. Don't be too darn serious on your first date. Another dating mistake is talking too much. This awkward cover-up for your lack of confidence really backfires because you say too much. Do you remember our first date? Did we talk too much? It was kind of an interesting first date, wasn't it?
It was an interesting first date.
It was
I'm
more
sure
like
we
a
did
job interview.
everything wrong.
Probably. Next thing, mistakes for dating. Don't blame others, like bosses or exes. Your date will think, hey, you're going to just blame me later. Don't put on false airs. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Just be who you are. Because
because if it does work out,
Yeah.
you're going to have to pretend for the rest of your
Do
life.
you want to pretend forever? Don't be negative. Avoid being a downer. Also, gender bashing. If you're on a date, save it for girls' night or guys' night. Don't do that.
Don't.
So another one is asking about money issues. Too much too soon. Don't do that on a first date. So,
What's your financial status?
how much bank you making anyway? Sounding desperate. Nobody ever asked me out. It's not a good thing because then they'll be like, well, this date is over. Next one, lying. Do not lie on a first date. Sooner or later, that lie will come back to bite you in the tuchus. And then how are you going to feel when you break up after a month because she finds out that you lied on your first date? So don't do that. Being argumentative. Don't spot off about politics or whatever it is that you're all wrapped up in. Don't do that. Don't get in arguments. And then the last thing is not listening. What was that, Heidi? If you're on a first date, make sure you listen. If you don't listen, it's not going to go well. A couple of tips for you there from whoever that is at Third Age. Thanks for listening.
Hey, this is Tim from Hope and Faith Machine Works. Are you having one of these days?
How in the world am I going to do that?
Or even,
If I could just have this, my life would be so much easier.
well, this kind of stuff is my specialty. At Hope and Faith Machine Works, we work with anyone who needs something built, fabricated, or just done right. We've done medical, industrial, PLC, and prototype designs. You can reach us at yourhopeourfaith.com. That's yourhopeourfaith.com.
Move over fingerprints. We have ear prints. I think we talked a little bit about this. Scientists in 7 countries are testing the viability of using ear prints to positively identify a criminal. They say so far...
Who leaves ear
Well,
prints?
after looking at 50,000 ear prints, they have yet to find 2 that were identical. Police say criminals often press their ear against a door or a window to
okay.
determine if anyone is in the building. They may wear rubber gloves, but what are you putting over your ears? So the big job will be convincing the court system that ear prints are as good of an identifier as fingerprints. But they're saying so far, out of 50,000 ear prints, they've not found 2 that were exactly the same.
Huh.
So I think that goes for any print of any kind. If they can show that, hey, this was right here, this mark, this scar on this person's arm, if it's an arm print, whatever, if they can match it up, they can match it up. So ear prints could be just as viable as fingerprints before you know it. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Have you ever wondered, like when you're talking to somebody, if they're telling tall tales or if they're being honest with you?
Yes.
There's a new gadget called the Truster. It's available at Spy Gadget stores and online. I've never been to a Spy Gadget store.
I have
wanna,
not.
I want to go
didn't
to
even
one
know
now.
there was a Spy Gadget
I can only
store.
imagine that it would be like, the James Bond movies or whatever. And this is a pen that's also a blow dart.
That'd be awesome.
I'd love to go now. Anyway, this thing is marketed as the world's first portable lie detector. The Truster looks like a cell phone or a radio pocket or a radio. Let me try that again. A pocket audio recorder, but manufacturer claims that it can actually detect stress in the human voice. Can you hear mine right now? Because I can't read. The LCD screen, if it shows a full apple, it indicates a person is telling the truth. Disappearing bites from the apple indicate that they're not being fully honest with you. Makers of the Truster do point out it is for entertainment only and should not be used for critical decisions in business or love life. The Truster, by the way, retails for about $90.
Whoa.
For entertainment
thank
purposes.
you.
I think that's it. Should be $9 if it's only doesn't really work, but hey, it's $90. All right, coming up, household items that could save your life.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Red Cross and the Daily Mail newspaper have 7 things you need when crisis strikes. These lifesavers could save your life in case of an emergency. You ready for this?
I am ready.
Have these things around at all times. A paper bag. I don't have any of those. Inhaling and exhaling 10 times while holding it over your mouth can actually help you stop a panic attack. A juice glass. I don't know if I have that either. It says to easily remove an insect from someone's ear, pour a glass of warm water into it. The bug should float to the surface. Oh, hey, I never thought of that.
Oh.
That's a good idea. Milk. Says
Couldn't you use any glass for that?
Probably. I'd love to help, but all I have in here is a wine glass, so you're going to have to let that bug chew through your brain. I don't have no glue juice glass. Milk. It says if you knock out a tooth, put it in a container of milk until you can get to the dentist. Milk is a neutral solution that will keep the tooth from drying out. It increases the odds that they can actually pop that sucker back in your mouth. Yellow pages and a mop. It says touching someone who's been electrocuted can give you a severe shock, so insulate yourself by standing on a phone book, then move the electrical wire away with a wooden mop handle.
Okay.
Not
a metal one.
I carry those with me all the time.
Not a metal one.
Yeah,
Cannot stress that enough.
Or a wet one. Another thing to have on hand is a bed sheet. An adult suffering from heat stroke should be wrapped in a sheet soaked in cold water. Another thing to keep handy, pantyhose. To support a broken collarbone, wrap a pair of pantyhose around the person's neck, tie it loosely at a figure 8 at chest level, and put the person's hand at the bottom of the loop. That again is for a broken collarbone. And the last thing, a credit card, so you can afford to buy whatever. No, I'm just kidding. It says here for a bee or a wasp sting. Gently rub the credit card, like scrape the stinger out of the wound. And then put ice on the area to reduce the swelling. So you just put that on there and scrape it, and it'll supposedly pop it out. I'm not going to do any of these things, but there's some good advice for you.
And I'll probably forget about all of them
I
as soon
remember.
as
What
we
was I
move
supposed
on.
to keep again? I think the one credit card is the only one you need to remember, and have it so you've got a big enough balance on there that you can do something, like maybe go to an emergency room. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. And take a listen to this story. This is really interesting. Bentley Yoder. Have you heard this name yet?
No, I don't believe
Bentley Yoder is being called a miracle baby. According to the Washington Post, Bentley was born with a rare condition where his brain was growing on the outside of his skull.
Oh.
His mom, Sierra Yoder, said doctors told them that their son would not live very long after his birth. However, that didn't happen. It wasn't until he had lived for 5 months that surgeons at the Boston Children's Hospital put together a plan for what one called the granddaddy of cases to place the brain back into the cranium. On May 24th, a team went to work easing Bentley's brain back into his head. Now, almost a month after Bentley's brain surgery, his mother said he's now able to hold his head up. he's eating, he's smiling, he's jabbering. No one quite knows what Bentley's future will look like because nobody ever in the history of the world has been through this before.
Wow.
So they have nothing to compare him to. His parents say, we just take it step by step. I've got a link to this story on our Facebook page, and I just think that is such an amazing story. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. What do you think of that? Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty cool.
And, the technology we have today, my oldest sister, when she was born, her lungs were not fully developed, so she was only alive for a short while. She passed away. This is back in 1968. And the amazing thing is, the technology that would have kept her alive was already invented at the time. We just didn't have it where we lived. So if she would have been born in a different part of the country or a different part of the world, she most likely would have been with us right now. So the technology to put somebody's brain back in their head, as crazy as that sounds, and I could come up with a lot of political jokes right now, but I won't do that because, again, this is a very serious thing. We've never done this before. This has never happened before. So it's amazing to me. And again, I have that story at Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.